Hey guys, so how to know if someone is willing to pay my high ticket bookkeeping price points. So this video is for like if you have like monthly bookkeeping services, monthly accounting services, cleanups, tax plans. It's just really understanding how to assess your value and how to know like is someone going to want to work with you. And this was inspired because I was on a coaching call with a very new student inside my mentorship program, and she was basically asking like, hey, I know that this pricing calculator you gave me is giving me this price, but I'm really nervous about whether or not he's actually going to accept this price. And there's a lot of different layers and levels when it comes to this question, right? It's like, what is my value? It's what's the value of the work? It's do people see me as valuable, or do people even have the money to pay it? And like all these different conflicting thoughts kind of come into our heads and cause us, either to be able to make it work or not be able to work. So I want to kind of help you out today and give you my 2 cents of what's worked for me. So when I first was getting started, I got started back in 2015, and the worst skill that I had was sales. So what I mean by that is like I I did not like confrontation. So anytime that someone would like get upset with me on a call, or like anytime someone would say my price was too high, I would immediately just kind of like shrink and be like, well, I could maybe change the price here, maybe I can give you a discount here, or maybe I would just be stuttering. I just wouldn't know what to do. And it wasn't that like I was afraid of people in general. It was just more of like, number one, I had this kind of like misconception in my head that if someone got mad at me on a sales call, it would ruin my reputation forever. No one would want to work with me. I'd be blackballed, never get a client again. And I know at the time, like it was a very real fear. Back then, I like right knowing what I know now, it was very irrational. Like it doesn't happen like that. Um, but at the time, it was so real. So I don't know, like maybe you're struggling with something like that too, where it's like it's like kind of the fear of the unknown, or the fear of like just danger in general. Like what's gonna happen if someone doesn't like me? And it once you can kind of like learn how to really get around those feelings and really understand like the logical and emotional aspects of pricing and of value, it definitely makes it a lot easier. Like one thing that happened for me is like I'm just kind of looking at my notes because I have a couple of different like notes, but not a huge amount. So one thing I remember, there was one time where I was trying to get this like cleanup project, and the price was like $7,000 for the cleanup. I just came up with that price point. My pricing back then was like that was like around 2015, late 2015. I didn't have like a good pricing structure. Like nowadays we have a great pricing structure, but back then I didn't have that. So I like I don't know how I came up with like $7,000, but when I told him the price of $7,000, the house got real big. He's like, "Oh, that's way too much money," and I just started panicking, and like I panicked so hard that I ended up just like I was like, "Dude, how about this? I'll give you like a $5,000 discount." He's like, "Oh, yeah." So I ended up getting like it was stupid too, because like I ended up doing like a deposit method. So I got like $1,000 deposit and like $1,000 when the work was supposed to be finished. But this dude like never actually got me much information. He got me like a little bit to start, but he just kind of like ended up like falling off the face of the earth and just like not really being responsive and stuff. So it's like he never actually paid the other $2,000. I just did a bunch of work, but we never got to finish it. And when I was looking at his account, I thought the reason why he wanted a discount was because he didn't have the money. When I was doing his books, he had lots of money, like lots of money. Like I think he had like $600,000 in cash, and just like his personal, like it was some obnoxious amount of money. But really, what it was, what he just did not value the way I was presenting, what I had to offer. It was just kind of an afterthought, right? And nowadays, what I teach people, it's like there's two different main objections, right? There's a cash flow objection, like they don't have the cash to do it, versus it's a value objection. They have the cash, they just don't want to spend it or prioritize it on what you're selling at this moment in time. And like being able to understand that difference will make or break your ability to go and like close down deals, get people to say yes, and even charge the price points you need, right? And the only reason I really learned that you could charge more was because I did this like mentorship program. It was like a mixture of like sales, HR, and a little bit of marketing. I didn't know it was marketing when I bought it, but yeah, and it cost me about $20,000 when all said and done. So that's not counting advertising fees. It's not counting the staff fees that kind of came along with it. But they charged me $20,000. And like when I was doing it on the phone, it didn't really seem. It seemed like it was a lot of money. It was very, very, very scary when I did it. But literally, like within like 2 weeks, I like ran to this person online. Like I kind of knew how to do pricing better at that point. And when I was running the numbers to like, I had like a makeshift calculator. It was basically the foundation of what I use nowadays, but it was just like makeshift in the beginning. Like it was not as robust what we have now. And the thing came out to $20,000, and that price kind of scared me. It's like, well, how am I gonna say this? Never had someone pay me $20,000. No one's gonna do it. Like, I don't even think people have that much money like available in their bank account, which I know is super rational, right? Because I already had like people that had a lot of money. It wasn't rational. It wasn't logical. It was just all fear based. Like, what if? What if? What if? What if? What if? Right? So I went to the call, and I don't know exactly what it is. Like sometimes like in life, you just kind of have to like listen to that still quiet voice in yourself, rather than kind of like the loud yelling like fear, right? Because the fear kind of yells, but hope kind of is quiet. It's quiet. You have to feed that hope, right? To feed the hope more than like you feed the fear, and the hope gets louder and louder and louder. And I don't know exactly what it was about that moment, but it was just like I was talking, 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 and then all of a sudden I was like, didn't you just Bryce? Didn't you just buy a course for $20,000? And the reason why it was so significant was because like I was not making a lot of money at the time. I was at probably about like 5 grand a month, so that was a lot of money like relative to like what I was making my business when I got that. And this guy had like it was like a $3 million year business. And I was like, Bryce, if you're making 5 grand a month and this guy's business is grossing, 250, 300,000 a month, why can't he afford to do it? If you could do that and you're not making much money, why can't he do that? And that kind of gave me a little bit of like audacity. It was like, yeah, dude, it's $20,000. And like the guy actually paid it. Right? It was a much easier sale than what I ever expected to be. I was thinking I had to like go and build this value. I had to go and like give him a million reasons why you should go with me and why you should do this. But it was literally just like I said the price. I said it with confidence. I said it with like certainty. And the guy's like, cool, let's get it going. So simple. And what I learned was it wasn't necessarily about the price. It was more about how did I present myself and who was I talking to. So when I say who was I talking to, right? Like there are certain people in this world that don't believe in paying a good amount of money for like business services. There are some people that love to splurge on business services. I believe that every single person in this world has something they like spending their money on, right? And in some cases, what can happen is like a business owner can believe in like running an extremely, extremely tight, like efficient ship, and then just spending all their money on like their personal stuff. Like the only reason they have their business is literally just to go and support their lifestyle. And there are some people where it's like they are trying to grow the business and like they are trying to move forward. So there's the two different types of business: lifestyle business, what they call it, and then performance business, right? So if you're just going to these lifestyle businesses where it's just like us four and no more, like they just want to support their family and that's the only reason they have the business, it's very hard to charge high ticket accounting and bookkeeping prices. You can in a lot of cases, but it is a little bit harder. Versus if you're going after performance based business where they're actively trying to grow, they're trying to go hit the 10 million, 50 million, $100 million per year mark, and they know they have to bring on contractors, employees, people underneath them. That's an entity that's a lot better for selling those high ticket services. Which is also the reason why I tell people don't really go after like the solopreneurs, right? Because oftentimes solopreneurs, if they've been a solopreneur for 5, 10 years, chances are they don't really want to grow. There's a reason why they're still solo. right? They're just literally just trying to make a living. Now, the next thing is like really when it comes to value, and I think I'm gonna go into like I'm going to talk about how to understand like what is the proportional value. I'm not going to talk about like how to price out your service in this video. I think I'll make like a follow-up video about like how to actually price your services. I want to actually like take my time and like give you like straight up like thought processes and metrics to do that. So in this video, I'm just going to talk about like how to actually understand what your value is. Okay? Because those are two different things, value versus price. So to put in perspective, value is basically what they get and the benefits, like the second and third level consequence of those benefits that they're basically paying for. Price is like the price they pay, but value is what they get. So if you can understand how to understand your and like evaluate your value, the price can actually become secondary. So that's why in this video I'm going to focus on value. So value is always based on what is the intrinsic and extrinsic return that someone is going to get. Sometimes it's fiscal, like monetary return. Sometimes it's emotional. Now, I'm always thinking whenever I'm talking to someone, I'm always thinking like, what is in it for them? Like, what are they going to get as a result of working with me? What are they going to get as a result of, let's say, having this cleanup? As a result of this tax plan? As a result of this monthly bookkeeping, as a result of this trends analysis. What is the point? And the reason why is because like as accounting and bookkeeping professionals, like I don't know, maybe you're in the accounting field, maybe you're not in the accounting field. We tend to think that every person knows what accounting or bookkeeping is or knows like what the value is. And how I learned this too was my uncle is a CPA, right? He doesn't have his own business, but like every time I do like if we have tax returns that we just don't want to like refer to someone else, we'll just like refer to him. But he could never explain accounting to a regular person. Like he just never could. So I was like, well, why do I need this? He's like, well, because you just need it. And rather than learning how to tell people like what the value is, what is the outcome, he would just default to this person doesn't know anything, they're stupid, they're not worth my time. And I know that that's it can be a bad way to think about people, just think in general, but that's kind of where he was in his business career. So I had to learn the opposite because I had asked him to teach me like taxes and teach me different things, but you know, after a couple lessons, like, he just couldn't explain it to me. Just couldn't explain it to me. So I had to learn it from scratch, but the way my brain works is I always have to know the why. Like, why am I doing this? Why is this important? What is the outcome like? Like where does the end goal we're trying to get to? So as I talk to clients, I'm always communicating that because I just think like in my mind, if I say a term, let's say I'm going to say, okay, so we're going to basically build a battery for you. In my mind, if I was on the other side, I would be thinking, well, what's the point of a battery? So I immediately explain why the battery is beneficial to them, what the battery is going to like give them, and like what will that reward or that outcome do for their life outside of the business. I'm always thinking those 3 layers deep. So let's say, for example, you have someone that needs a cleanup, okay? So person needs a cleanup, okay? Well, why do they need the cleanup? Well, let's say in this hypothetical example, they need to go and get a loan. Okay. So that's the what they need. They need the loan. Okay. So now it's like, I'm sorry, that's the why. Why they need this cleanup is to go get a loan. Well, how much of a loan is it? Is it 10,000, 100,000, a million, $10 million? Right? Because the size of the loan is going to make a big difference. If you're doing a cleanup for someone, they're only going to get $10,000 out of it. They probably aren't going to be willing to pay you that much money. Versus if they're going to get $10 million out of this thing, like they were going to pay you up the wazoo because they got to make sure this thing is efficient. So then, okay, so it's like the dollar value is going to make a big difference. But then also, if they were to get this loan, what would that do for their business? Okay, so let's say that they're a real estate investor. Let's say that they have, will that allow them, now they have a $10 million loan, could they go and buy an apartment building that they can then add to a portfolio where they allow people to invest in? So now other people can go and invest and pay off that loan a lot faster, in addition to like the revenue they're gonna get from the apartment. Oh, that's cool because now they increased their status. They went from just being a real estate investor to now having a real estate fund. And then now they have a real estate fund. What is that going to do for their personal life? That goes from just maybe just like a random hustler that has like, 10, 20, units, and now you have 2,000 units. And now you start building a brand online and in person as this person who's like this fund owner. So that's another thing, right? So now you have this brand. Now you're a local celebrity. Now everyone wants to talk to you. You have people calling you to invest money, to learn your secrets, to grow. Maybe their spouse sees them better now. Not saying that like money is everything, but maybe they're radiating in a new confidence because of all the attention they're getting and because of all like the projects and like the traction they're making in their business. So now their spouse like, oh, this is cool. Like maybe they could have gotten this loan 10 years ago, but they were feeling fear or they were just slacking off, and maybe for like the last like 9 years, their marriage kind of was struggling as a result of that, right? Like, there's a lot of different reasons why someone could want your services. You just have to go and talk to them on a person to person level to understand. If you notice this part of the conversation, have you noticed that I got more and more and more personal in like the last like 3 minutes that we've been talking on this YouTube video? That's how a consultation call should be. If you're too surface level where it's like, yeah, how many transactions do you have? How many bank accounts do you have? Do you have loans? Do you have credit cards? It's like that's not valuable. You're basically just being an order taker, like almost like they're ordering off a menu at McDonald's, kind of thing. Versus when instead, like if you think about like a financial advisor, they are helping plot someone's course to where they want to go. Where are they trying to go in life? Like what is the purpose of all the stuff they're doing? Well, how does it benefit their life? And the more that you can really do that, the easier it's going to be. One rule of thumb that I've found is that people are willing to pay. They're willing to pay $1 to get at least $10 in value out of whatever you're doing or selling. Okay, it's a 1 to 10 ratio, 10%. So let's say that you help someone get $100. They're going to be very, very happy to pay you 10. The problem is most people have a hard time getting people to understand that accounting and bookkeeping is giving them $100. Because then if you don't communicate it correctly, you seem like you're only giving them $10 worth of value. So when you ask for $10, they say no because they don't see what is the benefit of it. It's basically going to wash itself out, essentially. Yeah, so if I'm going to pay you this $10,000 for this cleanup, it's only really going to save me $10,000 here. It's only really going to make me $10,000 here. So when you start going to those deeper levels and start going more to the personal levels, there comes a certain point to where when you're talking to someone, you have found the motivation for them that is worth more than what money can buy. That's the key. It's when I was getting started, right, everything for me was like about money, right? Because I needed to make money for my business. So everything was like, how like, we're gonna help you save money, we're gonna help you make money, right? Because you just want to make money. And a lot of times what happens was like for the more established business owners, it wasn't really just about making money. They'd already made a lot of money, like they were above money, right? And this is a principle I like to teach like the students in our mentorship program about being like above money. But so I wasn't resonating with them. I was on that same frequency as what they were, thinking about. It wasn't until I made significant money where I stopped talking so much about money and I started talking more about like the life, right? Because once you get to a point to where money doesn't matter anymore, you're basically forced to confront all the problems you have in your personal life, your health, right? Your relationships. Maybe you don't have any friends because you haven't talked to anybody in 10 years. Maybe your relationship with your spouse is strained. Maybe your relationship with your children are strained because maybe you're like working a lot when they were younger, right? So once you have the money, you can essentially like take an active retirement. That makes things a lot easier, right? Like for me, for example, I had a time where I had to go back and just like start rebuilding friendships and just start getting out again because all I cared about for a time was just attack, 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 and you kind of come to a spot to where it's like you have so much money that it doesn't have the same meaning as what it once was, and the only thing that you want is to get back to your life, you know. And once I hit that point, then it's so simple to talk to business owners. It's just most people like in our like nervousness, we forget that we're talking to people. And if you can just remember you're just talking to a person that has wants and has needs, then you're able to go. And back to that like 1 to 10 ratio. So all you have to do is keep asking questions about like what is the goal and the outcome the person wants until you find something that's worth at least 10 times whatever you're asking for. I don't know why my camera's angle is kind of off. Oops. Sorry. And then like if you're really a professional, you're not just gonna stop once you find at least 10x of value. You're gonna stop when you find like 50x, 100x. You're gonna try and like build as much value and as much like real life stuff as possible to make sure that your price is actually like 1% of the value they're gonna get. And that's how you know someone is not going to reject your price. Okay. If you want some help, maybe growing your business, click the link to see if I can help you. Links will be in the description or the comments, and I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you on the other side. I'll see you on our call.